A very good morning. This presentation is brought to you by Resonate International with a mission to leverage knowledge worldwide. The topic being covered is the European Union, reshaping a continent's destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, Europe's transformation is nothing short of extraordinary. A continent once fractured by two world wars now stands largely united under the European Union. With 27 member countries and over a dozen more in line to join, the EU has become a model of cooperation and shared values. But this union is more than just an economic powerhouse with a 16 trillion euro GDP and the world's largest single market. It is also a project that must continually adapt to the pressing realities of today. From Russia's aggression at its borders to the escalating climate crisis, the EU faces mounting pressures that threaten both its unity and its resilience. As the EU, with a population of 448 million inhabitants, which is 5.6% of the world population, looks ahead, it must draw on its diverse strengths while addressing profound internal and external challenges. The EU's origins lie in Europe's commitment to peace after two devastating world wars. Early steps like the European Coal and Steel Community in 1951 and the Treaty of Rome in 1957 laid the groundwork for economic collaboration. These culminated in the Maastricht Treaty of 1993, which officially established the European Union with Belgium, Italy, Germany, France, Luxembourg, and Netherlands as founding members and introduced a unified economic policy, a single market for goods, services and capital, and later the euro as an official currency in 1999. Today, 20 of the EU's 27 countries, known as Euro area, use the euro as their national currency, facilitating smoother trade and business within a market that represents over 340 million people. Most EU countries export between 50 to 80% of their goods to other EU nations. Europe's diversity is its strength and its challenge. Around 41 million EU residents are foreign citizens, with 14 million being citizens of other EU member nations. 39% of EU population resides in urban cities, 36% in towns and suburbs, and 2 to 5% in the rural areas. In 2022, the EU saw 5.1 million immigrants from non-EU countries, marking a 117% increase compared to the previous year 2021. Additionally, 1.5 million people migrated within the EU, reflecting the Union's appeal and the opportunities it offers. This diversity enriches the cultural fabric of the continent and addresses labor market. Northern countries like Germany and Sweden boast high GDP and low unemployment, while southern nations such as Greece and Italy grapple with issues like debt and youth unemployment rates hovering around 13 to 20%. Politically, while nations such as France and Germany support deeper integration, others like Hungary and Poland resist in areas such as judicial independence and migration. This is a continent with 24 official languages and deeply rooted in cultural identities, from the Scandinavian welfare model to more privatized approaches in southern Europe. The Schengen area, since 1985, spanning all EU members excluding Cyprus and Ireland, promotes free movement but also intensifies pressure as migration levels rise, particularly from outside Europe. Balancing unity with national sovereignty is a constant negotiation that shapes EU policies on issues ranging from labor markets to broader security. The EU's complex institutional framework comprises of 7 EU institutions, 8 EU bodies, and over 30 decentralized agencies working for the common interest of EU nations and the European people. This ensures that diverse voices are represented. The European Parliament legislates on behalf of EU citizens, while the European Commission drives policy enforcement and implementation. The European Council, comprising heads of state, sets strategic priorities, while the European Central Bank manages monetary policy across the Eurozone nations. This structure underpins the EU's foundational goals of promoting democracy, human rights, and economic growth. Through these institutions sometimes clash with national interests, creating a balancing act that requires careful diplomacy and compromise. The EU places a strong emphasis on education and multilingualism with multiple programs to support learning and cultural exchange. The EU made remarkable strides. Its single market generates approximately 8.5 trillion euros annually, boosting trade and fostering investment. In climate policy, the EU is a global leader, committing over 1 trillion euros to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Yet, it has faced significant challenges. The 2008 financial crisis exposed weaknesses in the Eurozone, particularly in Greece and Spain, leading to austerity and social unrest. Brexit was another blow, as the UK's departure underscored the limits of integration and raised questions of sovereignty, marking a historic fracture in the Union's trajectory. The EU is highly vulnerable to external pressures. Over 40% of its natural gas comes from Russia. And while efforts to diversify energy sources have accelerated since the Ukraine invasion, the transition is challenging. Migration remains divisive as EU members debate asylum policies in response to a rising influx of refugees. Countries like Hungary, with divergent stance on judicial reforms, create rifts that threaten EU unity. Social unrest, exacerbated by economic strain and increasing crime rates in some regions, adds to the pressures on the EU's cohesive identity. Externally, the EU navigates a complex web of alliances. While relations with the United States are strong, recent trade disputes over digital taxes and defense spending reveal potential fault lines. China's growing influence, particularly through investments in European infrastructure and technology sectors, raises strategic concerns, particularly over data privacy and economic independence. To balance its position, the EU needs to deepen partnerships in Asia and Africa, diversifying trade and creating new investment pathways that bolster its resilience. In 2022, EU's total imports were around $7 trillion, while its combined exports were $6.57 trillion, with China and USA being the major trade partners. Let us carry out a SWOT analysis of EU based on what we have covered so far. The strengths of EU are: one of the world's largest economy, having 16 trillion euros GDP, single market, significant trading partner contributing 14% of global trade, and strong single official currency providing economic stability. Weaknesses: economic disparities within EU, bureaucracy leading to slow decision making and complex systems, political fragmentation with differing views and opinions, dependency on external energy. In terms of opportunities, scope for expansion of EU and better integration among members, innovation and technology-driven growth, sustainable development, and new trade partnerships. There are threats too: geopolitical instability, economic inequality and resultant crisis, Brexit-like situations, rise of Euro skepticism within EU member nations. Looking at this SWOT, what is the way forward for EU? Nothing short of unity and resilience. To secure its future, the EU must commit to sustainable energy independence, reduce dependency on external sources, and strengthen its own renewable sectors. A well-managed migration policy that leverages talent to address skills shortages, particularly in healthcare and technology, will be essential for demographic resilience. Politically, the EU must reinforce its commitment to democratic standards, encouraging alignment with its core values across all member states. And with growing security risks, particularly in light of Russia's actions, The EU should pursue greater defense cooperation, building autonomy along with its NATO commitments to safeguard regional stability. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Europe's evolution from a fractured state to a powerful union stands as a testament to the strength of collaboration and shared purpose. The EU, a unique economic and political union, has not only fostered peace and stability, but has also driven economic growth, social progress, and global influence. Yet, for the EU to continue thriving, it must embrace unity in diversity, strategically navigate a turbulent global environment, and remain adaptable to the fast changing landscape of the 21st century. Europe's journey reminds us that even amidst challenges, resilience and cooperation are within reach, offering a path towards a more secure and sustainable future for generations to come. Good luck, best wishes, and God bless.